Hey fellas, so it's Friday again. I wanted to get this video posted earlier in the week, but obviously I didn't. Well, I wanted to get it made earlier in the week, but obviously I didn't. Amazing how that works out, right? Hey, at least I'm consistent about this, I keep talking about how I want to do the video before the next week, and I don't. Oh, jeez. There may not be a video this coming week. I don't know yet. I've got a little get-together for a friend's birthday this evening, so I'm definitely not making first draft tonight. Good and real chance I'm not making second draft tonight. But it's alright, it's a friend's birthday, known the guy for ages. Got married a little over a year ago. Remember the first time I met his then bride-to-be, now wife. She's cool. Rather glad that neither of us finds the other sexually attractive, otherwise things would be awkward. So, decks from last week, right? Drafted in Innistrad. First draft, let's take a quick look at what I had sideboard. I ended up going black and blue. I actually did end up with some... There we go. Some fairly solid green in the sideboard. 2 Full Moon Rises, Villagers of Estwald, Ulvenwald Mystics, Dark Thicket Wolf, a Boneyard Worm, a Naturalized, an Orchard Spirit. But I didn't think it was strong enough to run. Red, we're looking at a Reckless Waif and an Infernal Plunge. White, an Abyssinian Priest, a Voiceless Spirit. I mean, right there, that's 2 good white cards, but not worth running white for those. I'm hesitant about splashing a third color. Ghost Quarter, whoop-de-doo. Fortress Crab, pair of them. I had crabs. Got better. She turned me into a newt. A newt. I got better. For those who don't know, it's a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail. But that's okay. Hysterical Blindness, not a card that's ever really done a lot for me. Okay, looking at what we got here. I've got, under general category of flyers, I've got a Moon Heron, a Stitch Drake, Vampire Interloper, Sturmgeist that I got back out of the prize pool. That was nice. Good flyer. I also had an Invisible Stalker. Those are always nice to get when you can't get your fingers on them. Conditional flyer had a Delver of Secrets. It's a nice card. Can't argue with it. To go along with those guys, I also had a Curiosity. Oh, and of course another flyer, Screeching Bat. And of course, which transforms from a 2/2 fly. During your upkeep, you can pay 2 and double black to transform it back and forth from a 2/2 flyer to a 5/5 ground pounder. That's always nice, right? Creature control was a little bit on the lacking side. I had a Silent Departure, Blazing Torch, a Tribute to Hunger. Typhoid Rats. Typhoid Rats is an interesting one. It's not a bad card, it's just a really low priority while drafting. It's a 1/1 for black, and it has Death Touch. It's a great little blocker. And it's a card that on the offense, your opponent generally won't block it, because he's like, why should I throw a better creature in front of it just to lose it? I mean, people are just hesitant about trading anything with it, Which is alright. It's even better if you can put a good piece of equipment on there, then your opponent really has to think about it. Sell-Off Occultist. And here's an interesting thing. Something to think about. We got the Sell-Off Occultist series, 2 colors and a blue for a 2/3 with a special ability. Whenever a creature dies, you can mill target player for 1. Make him put a card from the top of his deck into his graveyard. And that's a common. And here's a red common. This is a foil version. Wasn't here, but I had it hanging around. Riot Devils for 2 colors and a red. It's a 2/3, no special abilities. This is a human rogue. Now, Rogue Tribal was relatively well supported back in Lorwyn, in Shadowmoor, mostly Shadowmoor. And Human Tribal's very well supported in Innistrad, you know, the block he appears in. Devil Tribal is worthless. Innistrad, if I recall correctly, Innistrad literally doubled the number of devils in the game, and there's no tribal synergy with devils, so I don't know. Blue's getting better creatures than red these days, for the most part. But for the most part, not always. Depends upon the function of the creature, but apparently for a 2/3, blue gets better creatures. I don't know. So anyway, we got him. We got 2 Stitcher's Apprentice. The Stitcher's Apprentice is actually really good for, you know, shenanigans with the Sell-Off Occultist, or with the Skurstag High Priest, who I kicked into the prize pool and ended up getting back. That wasn't bad either, you know. Walking Corpse, he's an excellent filler card in black. I mean, black having a grizzly bear, pretty nice. There was a point in time where for his power, toughness, and tribe, you'd expect to pay an extra colorless. Our old friend Ski the Zombies. Had an Inquisitor's Flail. I don't think I even drew it the whole night. The Mask of Avacyn, nice card. Traveler's Amulet, hey, you know, it's a good mana fixer, thins the deck a little bit, blah 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 blah. It's not a bad card. What else did I have off to the side? I also had a Moorland Haunt set. I believe I actually had sideboard, since it wasn't in color. I also had a Creepy Doll in the deck. Also in sideboard I had a Curse of the Stalked Prey, but wasn't run in red. Also in sideboard, what ended up being my keeper, I didn't kick into the prize pool, was the Clifftop Retreat, the white-red quasi-duel. Yeah, that went into a deck already. Because, you know, I've got like 3 or 4 red-white decks, and, can I say, it's a color combination that I enjoy playing, and all of my red-white decks are very different. I mean, I've got a red-white control deck, I've got a red-white deck that just specializes in destroying everything. I've got a... Let me think what else I got. Red-white. That's red-white. That's red-white. I've got a red-white deck that I don't use much. I've only used it a handful of times, but it revolves around like Pandemoniums and flashing creatures around. A lot of stuff from Time Spiral block that did that. Like that stuff. So that's 3 right there. I want to say I've got at least 1 more hanging around someplace. I don't know where. What other red-white deck do I have? I'm pretty sure I've got another one. I'm just drawing a blank on it. Hey, you know, 3 out of 4. I'm doing better than Rick Perry, who can't even remember, you know, 25% failure rate is better than 33. I'm not even going to get involved in politics. Not in this series of videos. You know, easy way to get under people's skin, make people sit there and go, what the hell are you thinking? Because everyone thinks that what they believe should be perfectly obvious to any idiot. And let us be perfectly honest, a lot of people have different philosophical outlooks on things. You know, and that's really the long and short of it right there. People have different outlooks. Different priorities, etc., etc. Put that aside. Now, one thing I want to say at this point, I found it rather amusing. The video I made last week, I was talking about how I, hadn't really drafted green since Innistrad came out. I played it a little bit in M12 when, drafting M12, not too often. What can I say? Green is not a color that usually excites me. Before that, there was Scars block. I didn't draft green very heavily in Scars block either. I'll come right out and say that Most of the time I draft red, white, blue, or some combination of them. When I draft other colors, like I think I draft black more than I draft green. Black's philosophy of how can I put this? Red's philosophy is throwing caution to the wind and getting it done now, now, now. Black's philosophy is I throw you to the wind, and you, and you, and you, and even myself if I think I'm gonna come out on top. You know, it's sort of like your classic Suicide Black strategy, right? For those who don't know, just do a Google for Magic Gathering Suicide Black, and you should find some old school Suicide Black decks. They're basically focused around black cards with the drawback of losing life or paying life, blah 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 blah. Interestingly enough, the Cloistered Youth in Innistrad, the colorless and a white for a 1/1, that during your upkeep you can choose to transform it. If you do, it becomes a 3/3 black creature that deals that makes you lose 1 life at the end of your turn. That's amazingly enough, it's like a subpar white weenie that turns into a Suicide Black card. And that's the kind of card that fits beautifully into a Suicide Black philosophy, which is funny because they put it in white, but whatever, huh? So anyways, getting sidetracked on all this. So anyway, I was talking about how I didn't draft green very often. So second draft last week, I go black and green. I went black and green. Had 2 Gastaff Shepherds, 2 Ulvenwald Mystics, which aren't bad. I mean, they're 3/3s that transform into 5/5 Regenerators. They didn't transform that often because people are scared of a big body creature with regeneration. And I can't blame them. I can't blame them. What else did I have here? Miscellaneous bodies. I had a Rotting Fen Snake, Diagraph Ghoul, which is a pretty solid card. Invasive creatures. I got a pair of Orchard Spirits, Vampire Interloper, another Screeching Bat, Falconwrath Noble. Those things are nice. If I recall correctly, at one point while drafting, I had to pick between like a Falconwrath Noble and the Screeching Bat. It was like the second Falconwrath. It's already had one, and I had to choose between that or a Screeching Bat. And I'm like, oh, you dirty son of a... Because that's not the decision you want to make, because they're both good cards. But I made the decision I did, and I lived with it, 2 Ranger's Guile. It's a nice card. Gives a creature it's an instant, gives a creature +1/+1 X-proof. It's good for saving a creature from a targeted removal spell or effect. So it's really nice for that. It's also nice if you need to squeak in an extra point of damage, or even throw an extra point of toughness onto one of your dudes so it can survive a combat. Kid science, fun stuff. And that's what it really comes down to as well. So it's something that people don't really think of. Any card that you can use to save one of your creatures, for all intents and purposes, is another copy of that creature with a different casting cost. And that's not bad. It's really not. Especially in draft where, you're not gonna get enough copies of, the creatures you want. You know what I'm saying? Bramble Crush, I don't think it ever actually came in handy. It's a nice filler card. Destroy target non-creature permanent. Sure, why not? On the off chance that, I had an opponent with a, where was I going? Cat wandered by and distracted me. If your opponent's got a Planeswalker or an Equipment or a non-basic land that's like really screwing you over. Actually, I think I did use that once to like color screw somebody, which was fun. Traveler's Amulet, mana fixing, blah 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 blah. Here's the fun. I'll get to this. That actually was kind of an important thing to toss in here as well, I must say. What else we got here? The Butcher's Cleaver. Always nice. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 if it's human. It gains lifelink. This made my non-transforming werewolves not bother me so much because, hey, if it's not transformed, it has lifelink, it's still a human. You know, once it transforms and loses the human type, okay, it's just got a big power boost on it. Oh well, no big. Removal / quasi-removal cards. I got 2 Ambush Vipers. It's not a bad card at all. Prey Upon, reasonably solid. A Deadweight. 2 Tributes to Hunger. A Blazing Torch, and there was a Rune Chanter's Pike in there that I kicked into the prize pool and got back afterwards. My keeper ended up being an Angelic Overseer. Also out of the prize pool I got a F&M foil Curse of the Bloody Tome that the shopkeep tossed into the prize pool to like make things spiffy. A Creepy Doll. Oh hey, well no, sideboard had a Stitch Drake, Knot of the Bone. Knot of the Bone's a crappy card. You know, 2 life for each creature in your graveyard. You can flash it back. Yeah, life gain is not something that works that well, especially in draft. I mean, you have to. It has to be a specific draft environment for it to work right, you know. And I don't think Innistrad is it. A Somber Walled Spider. Hey, you know, which actually would have been nifty if I faced people that had a lot of good flyers, but I really didn't. A Moon Mist, a Spidery Grasp, a Wreath of Geists, another Spidery Grasp, Woodland Sleuth, which I really wanted to play, but I didn't. Travel Preparations, which actually isn't bad, but I just couldn't bring myself to run it. Lumber Knot, 2 of them actually, it's not a bad card. Festerhide Boar, which I wanted to run. Another Rotting Fen Snake, Disciple of Gristlebrand, Stromkirk Patrol, a Gallows Warden, and a Chapel Guide. So I had some nice stuff in sideboard. Now, one of the things, for those that were counting, I don't think any of you were lifeless enough to count. The cards that I mentioned that were in the deck, 24 cards. I was only running 16 land. I usually run 17 land in a draft deck. You know, I went 16 with this. And I broke it down as 9 and 8. 9 forests and 8 swamps. I'm sorry, no. 9 and 7. There we go. Brain fart. 9 forests, 7 swamps. The deck was more heavy in green than black. I only had 1 card that required double black, and even then, it only required the double black to transform her, the bat. So I showed you most of the stuff I got out of the prize pool. I showed you the deck. So you're probably asking, how did you do? Well, when it comes time to distribute prizes from the prize pool, whoever gets, everyone gets at least 1 pick. Generally, everyone gets 2 picks. First place gets 3 or 4 picks, depending upon how big the prize pool was. Second place gets 1 fewer pick, and generally from there on down, everyone gets 1 pick. Then you cycle back to first place, everyone gets another pick, blah, 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 blah. So, anyways, so at the end of the draft, my turn for picks comes up, and I pick up 4 quasi-duels. 2 Woodland Cemeteries, an Island Chapel, and a Sulphur Falls. I came in first. This was a fun deck to play. It really was. I just think there was a certain... It was just really strange. Irony is the word that a lot of people would probably use. That's not really the correct term. One might even say prophetic, that, you know, that earlier that night I was talking about I hadn't really drafted green in a long while, and then, like, second draft last week, I went, you know, I went black green, and I rocked people's worlds. It's fun stuff. I just don't know what to tell you. But you know, it was great. It had fun, and people looked at me and said unkind words. They're, you know, more or less my friends. They know me. I know them, so I know they didn't mean the unkind words, but there were still a couple of unkind words that when I went in, I scooped the 4 most valuable cards out of the prize pool first thing. I ripped 40% of the dollar value out of the prize pool by taking those. I mean, these are going for like, what, $5 to $7 these days, I think, right now? I'm not 100% certain. I mean, they're good cards. They really are. Especially Heavens Above, I've got use for you. I think I got uses for you. I'll have to poke around. Because I was working on a black-green elf deck. And, hey, you know, those will work. Those will work. So I'm going to call this video a wrap. Get ready to go out tonight for my friend's birthday party. Want to pick up something on the way, you know. Because, you know, I don't want to be a bad guest. Alrighty. Catch you guys later. Be good. Be safe. Have fun. Maybe I'll have a video for you next week. Maybe I won't. We'll see. We'll see. Alright. Be good, fellas.